Hey folks, this is Sani Fahuri, aka Darth Caboose here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to our Let's Play Labyrinth, The Awakening. And this is our third campaign of the Labyrinth series. So this is our playthrough of Awakening, and even though I did not mention it in my previous video, I have decided in this video that we shall be playing as the jihadists, with the bot being the United States player. So we'll jump right into it, and you'll have to forgive me because this is the first time I'm playing with these new bots that have been developed by Amazon, which you can see if you remember from my previous video. There was this nice section here that governed the control of the bot here. I'll be reading through this section and sort of understanding how the US bot works. But before we do, I want to take a quick moment to address one key rule that I had missed in the previous section, although you might have caught it if you had been watching through the video and noticed me missing it. So, recall that there was a state that a country can enter and exist and exit from, which was called Civil War, and that was a awakening mechanic. There is a section here about the attrition, which talks about, okay, well, at the end of each turn of hand of cards, you evaluate how many hits are assigned to each player that has pieces in the country, and then you assign damage by removing those pieces appropriately. Well, there is a key point where if the country is unable to fulfill the number of hits, so, like, for example, a hit typically hits 2 cells, but if there's only 1 cell in the country and the United States inflicts a hit, then it does as much removing as possible, and then it actually does some shifting of alignment and then governance. And it can go to ally good or adversary Islamist rule. So, this sort of causes both sides to have a vested interest in keeping pieces in a civil war country, because if they're unable to leave pieces there, then that side would lose out during the end of the turn because of these unfulfilled hits happening. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, let's go ahead now and go to the bot rules, and we will cover how the US bot works. So, victory conditions are very similar. However, you will notice that it actually mentions that it's the same victory conditions as a 2-player game. So this has the extra caveat of adding that the United States wins if they're able to remove every cell from the board, which is something that as the US player you would typically not be able to do if you're playing against a solo jihadist bot. So that's nice. I keep saying nice. It's interesting, I guess. You establish the U.S. stack as normal, so it's kind of this face-down stack, and you only ever manipulate the top card of the stack. You cannot inspect the U.S. hand even if triggered by an event, so that's something to keep in mind. Miscellany. Okay, so there's some things here about removing cells or placing cubes. When an event instructs to remove cells, the US bot uses disrupt priorities, and then when placing or removing cubes, it uses the priorities box in reverse order. I may have to refer to this because that's a bit special. There's something here about choosing cells. I mean, of course, you go after active cells before sleeper cells. Then, oh well, yeah. So you when you disrupt, you want to remove the active cells first. But if you have an event, you want to go for the harder to target cells, which in this case happens to be blue before black before red, and blue and red are new types of cells that we'll cover when they come up. When we place plots as jihadists, the plots are placed face up. Well, because, you know, what are we hiding from? What are we hiding information from? Or it's the bot that's reacting. When an event instructs to set or roll for posture, the US bot always selects countries of opposite posture to the US, then the unmarked countries, and always sets posture to the same as its own. So it tries to bring the world to whatever posture it's at, which makes sense. There's some stuff here about placing blue archers. the U.S. spot wants to always place awakening markers and then remove reaction markers, and there is something here about which priorities you use the War of Ideal Muslim priorities for that there. And U.S. spot removes troop cubes first from Civil War attrition, and a couple other things as well. Okay, so the United States version of radicalization, which was sort of like what happens when you don't have enough operation points, is called Homeland Security. And it takes the form of these steps here. And I guess we'll just cover it when it happens, but that's something we have to keep in mind of. Okay, let us get started. So I'm going to go ahead and fit to width. Excuse me. And we shall jump right into it. So we are the jihadists for a change, which means we will go first with our 2 cards. And again, just looking at the board, you can see that there's an awakening marker in Algeria. There's some stuff going on in Iraq. Afghanistan is in a state of regime change, so that's great. We want to kind of keep it locked down. But one of the key things that we should note here is that the United States starts off at soft, and the world is hard. The world is at a hard posture. And so that makes things a bit tricky for them to react to. Okay, so we have Martyrdom Operation, which is an amazing card. But we also have a couple of really nasty U.S. events that happen here. Okay, so I'm looking at this hand, I'm trying to see how can I attempt to mitigate this hand. So Predator is not a huge deal. Them removing a cell is okay. Although we only have 5 cells on the board, so we have to be a little bit careful and not go too crazy. Arab Spring Fallout is probably the worst because that places a bunch of awakening markers on the board, and we don't want awakening markers placed on the board. So that card will probably be used to plot with. Now, key point, whenever you're playing from the US's perspective, their ability to mitigate a bad card in their hand is to hold on to the card till the end. For the jihadists, what they want to do is they have to play all their cards, but the first time they plot with a card each turn, the event on it does not fire. In fact, it gets placed in this first plot box. So we may want to get this card out early and do some initial plotting. Possibly. Okay. Let's go ahead and play Backlash. The event fires, but it really doesn't do much. Play if you can select the plot in the Muslim country. We haven't plotted yet, so that guy goes away. And we are going to use that 1 operation point to recruit once in Afghanistan. So typically we would have to roll a die against the governance of the country, but because this is a regime change country, this automatically succeeds. And so we place another cell into Afghanistan. Our next action is going to be to play Arab Spring Fallout. And this is going to be used for plotting with. So this is going to be sent to the plot box, and the event doesn't happen, and we are going to use our 2 operation points to plot with. And we're going to pick 2 different countries. We're going to pick Pakistan as one of them, and Afghanistan as the other. Yeah. And I think the reason why is because I want, if we get one going off in Pakistan, there is a very good chance that we could degrade the governance level there to poor, which is ideal for the jihadists. So we're going to go ahead and flip this guy to active and this guy to active. Man, they're really hard to see when they're active or sleeper. We're going to have to keep a close eye on these guys. And I'm going to roll 2 die. The first one will be for Pakistan, the second one for Afghanistan. Okay, we get a 6, which is a failure in Pakistan, and a 1, which is a success. So that places a plot of our choosing, although not quite. I'm just going to put all these face up, I suppose. The reason why it's not quite is because, unlike with the solo play of the jihadist, as the when you take the role of the jihadist and you do a plot and it succeeds, you can only place a plot of value equal to or higher than 1 whatever the operations value of the card is. So we can put it most at 2. Now for Afghanistan, the only reason why we plot there is to degrade the US's prestige. So I'm just going to put a 2 there. It is relatively inconsequential. Okay, that was both of their cards. One was a recruit, and the second was for Pakistan. Was for the double plot in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Just getting that bad card out of our hand. It is over to the United States. Okay, so we're going to sort of tab back and forth between this chart here while we refer to things. And we will flip their first card over and say, okay, U.S. consulate attacked. Okay, this looks like a playable jihadist card. So the very first thing we're going to do, very first thing we're going to do, is we're going to go to this alert so remember, this is the jihadist page. So we're going to be looking at these 2 pages here. Is, okay, alert resolution flowchart, ARF. Start here. Is a WMD placed in the country? Well, no. There are no WMDs yet. We haven't gotten our hands on them, so the answer is no. Okay, so we go to no. Are there 3 operations available? Yes, there are 3 operations available because this is a 3 operations card. Okay. Is this the last card of the phase, that is the last card of the turn, or is the U.S. reserves less than 2? Now, yeah, the bots use reserves in this case. No, this is not the last card of the phase, and the U.S. reserves... Hang on, U.S. reserves less than 2. Well, I guess yes, that is the case. Even though it's not the last card of the phase, the U.S.'s reserves is less than 2. Right? Yeah, because it's at 0. So it meets that second condition, so the answer is yes, it's true. Okay, then you go to the alert table. Okay, so we consult the alert table here, which is tricky to read at first, but it's not too bad. Okay, what you do is you consult the current prestige and funding level of the game, right? And so right now, prestige is at 5 and funding is at 5. So we go to the 5 prestige 5 spot, and we see that there's this R and this 3U section. Well, what is this stuff? Well, first of all, so you have that, right? But you will also modify you will have some extra table modifiers as well that you have to look at. So, right. If there are any other unresolved plots, you have to modify prestige appropriately, right? The United States will evaluate whether it does things based on what the prestige and funding is expected to do at the end of the turn. So, yeah, so it's actually smart. It looks at how things will change at the end of the turn rather than what things are right now. And so, is the world posture 3 the same as the US? No, it's not. It's a hard 2 and the US is soft, so that doesn't do anything. Are there any Islamist rule countries? Nope, there are none on the board because they're all poor or fair countries. Pirates, fracking, and last turn would do things. But there are none of these modifiers, so it's just a straight up 5-5. We see R and 3U. Okay, so this sort of dashed line in this box here, the left side is what you do if a plot is being resolved in a Muslim country. You refer to that side. If it's in a non-Muslim country, you refer to the right side. So in this case, it's a Muslim country because it is Afghanistan, so we refer to the left side of 5-5. And that's going to be R. Well, what's R? Well, we consult the chart here. We say, okay, roll a die, subtract 1 from roll for each aid of the plot, and then we alert result if the plot number, if the result is less than or equal to the plot number. And WME is treated as a 3. Okay, so we're going to roll a die here and see what happens. We get a 2. Okay, so let's see here. Subtract 1 from each roll. There is no aid in the country, so it's just the 2. And then we see, okay, alert if result is less than or equal to the plot number. So the plot number is 2, and then we do the result is 2, which is less than or equal to 2. So they will alert the plot. They will spend the 3 operations points to alert the plot. Yeah, and that's how that works. If it was not that, then they would do no alert to the par flow chart, which means they would not alert. They would use the card for operations points instead. Okay, notice how this card doesn't, the jihadist events never fire on U.S. cards. I'm pretty sure of that. So that's essentially what happens there. So this card is used up, and the plot is alerted, alerted. So return to, just go ahead and put that back there, I guess. Okay, and that's that. That was their first card. Not bad, huh? They're sort of getting into it. I suspect that you don't refer to the ARF if there are no plots. But there is something here about adding card to the U.S. reserves. I'm not 100% sure about that. Alright, let's go ahead and play their second card. So that was their first card. Their second card is going to be Korean Crisis. Okay. Remove 2 troops from track first, then elsewhere to off map until end of next turn phase. So this is a playable jihadist event. So let's just go to the ARF chart here. So and see if it sort of gets the same. So start here. WD place in country. No, there are no plots. Are 3 ops available? Yes. Is this the last card of the phase, or U.S. reserves less than 2? Yes. Alert table. Okay, so we arrive at alert table. Notice that there is a path here where you can go from here to, okay, are there multiple if there are U.S. reserves that are at 2, right? If it's not the last card of the phase and the U.S.'s reserves are at 2, because U.S. reserves less than 2 means if it's 0 or 1. If it's at 2, though, you would say no. And then if there were multiple plots, and there were not multiple plots, then you would actually sort of ignore it, and you would go straight to the PAR flowchart. Okay, so we go to the PAR flowchart, and the first thing we see is start here. So we're going to start here. Is reassessment possible? Okay, so yeah, remember, the United States can always spend 2 3 ops cards to reassess. However, there is a change here where, with the bot, they don't need to have 2 3 ops cards. They can actually always reassess if they have enough reserves. And so what you do is reassessment possible? Well, we have to evaluate if it is. And we're going to do this every time, but keep in mind this is not... It's actually quite easy to evaluate whether this is possible or not. And so you can see here, it has to be the first card of the action phase, and the card is 3 ops. Well, that was true previously, but it is not now. And notice how it is possible that with 3 operations points to have to alert a plot, and that could delay reassessment, which may have happened here. We'll see, though. So it's not the first card of the action phase, so reassessment cannot possibly happen, because all 3 of these bullet points have to be true for it to happen. So the criteria is, first card of the action phase is a 3 ops card, and then is the U.S. reserves at 2, and do they have another card in their hand? So that's the key point there. And then finally, this is probably the biggest thing, they're either going to reassess if the United States is soft, and the Islamists are at 3 of the 6 resources they need to win the game. That's their victory. That's how they evaluate, the jihadists are getting too far ahead, we have to do something about that. Or alternatively, if the United States is hard, the world is at soft 3, and there are no Islamist rule. Well, so the U.S. is soft, would be evaluating this. The Islamist resources is at 0, so this will not happen. They will not reassess until we are closer to winning the game. So the answer to that question is no. They're not going to reassess. Okay. Is this a playable non-jihadist card? No, it's not. It is a playable jihadist card. So they are going to... Yeah, it is a playable jihadist card. So they're going to go no. And then they go, okay. Is a disrupt in a poor Muslim country at cells minus cubes greater than or equal to 2? Is that possible? Okay, so cells minus cubes greater than or equal to 2. That means that there are at least 2 more cells than cubes. And it has to be a poor Muslim country. Well, no, none of that is the case, because they have more troops than cells in all these cases here. So the answer is no. Okay, is there an Islamist rule greater than or equal to 3 and regime change possible? Well, no, there's no Islamist rule country, so they're not going to do a regime change. Is a war of idea in Muslim with DRM greater than or equal to 0? Okay, hang on. Let me just double check this. Disrupt in poor Muslim. It sells minus cubes. I mean, I'm reading that right. That's 2 more cells than cubes. I should hope so. Right. Yeah. That's what that is. Okay. All right. So we'll go here. War of idea in Muslim with DRM greater than or equal to 0. Their DRM is currently at 0 for prestige. So I think that is possible. So they're going to do a war of idea in Muslim countries. Okay. So there are multiple possibilities. So we have to consult the war of idea priorities box, and we see here lowest number of plot dice, and then regime change, and then caliphate capital. Okay. So lowest number of plot dice. There are no plots because they alerted them, so that doesn't apply. Regime change. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if can't the U.S. do a war of ideas in a... Do they have to follow the 5 more troops than cells restriction there? Because I would hope that would be the case. I'm going to sort of read through this and double check that. If reassessment is possible, perform reassessment. Use any additional instructions on the event instruction table. If the event is unplayable, jihadist associate or would have no effect. Instead, perform one operation is followed by the using any U.S. reserves as necessary. Right. Conduct only one operation in one country per U.S. card. Right. Homeland Security doesn't apply to that. Good, then fair, then poor. Ties, no cells, and cadres. Then disrupt in a non-Muslim country closest to the U.S. Ties, most cells, then... Okay. Alright. Okay, I don't see anything here about being able to do war of ideas and regime change countries unless you have 5 more cells and troops. So... yeah. Okay, there is one other key thing there. Reassessment is something that allows the... sorry, not reassessment. So reserves, the U.S. player might put some cards into reserves. They do not go away at the end of the turn. It stays between turns. So unlike the jihadist, it actually does go away at the end of the turn. Okay. So it looks like with the 3 operations points, they're going to do a war of ideas. But it looks like, just looking at this chart, it looks like they will never be able to do war of ideas in Afghanistan because, yeah, 3 minus 6 is greater than or equal to, no, it's -3, which is not, so, let's see here. What if they fall? So if they can't do war of ideas, I think that's when they kind of care about this stuff. But they're sort of going for the kill here. Okay, war of ideas in Muslim with DRM greater than or equal to 0, yes. So regime change, you can't because there's 6 to 3, so no. Okay. Caliphate capital, that's not on the board yet. Pakistan, unless no arsenal, they can't because they don't have troops there and the country is not considered an ally. Syria, Iran, so no. No. Civil war. No civil wars. Adjacent good ally. Nope. There is no adjacent good ally. Highest resource. Okay. It looks like Iraq is the answer there. Highest resource. Well, no. It doesn't have to be troops there. So, highest resource. Okay. So we have 2 possibilities there. We have Iraq and the Gulf states. Because those are the highest resources that are not unmarked. Okay. Neutral. Highest resource, then neutral. And then besiege regime. Okay. I think it's going to be Iraq in this case. So Iraq is the place. The Gulf states is not possible because that is the DRM of -1, because that is the push from fair to good. So it's going to be in Iraq. So we're going to roll the die, and War of Ideas roll. We see what happens. They get a 4. And that's just going to be a 4 straight up. They get a aid marker placed there. So this card is used up, discarded, and they have an aid marker to use. Okay. Wow, that was a action-packed first turn. All right, there. Okay, it is over to us now with our 2 cards. The plot was alerted, so nothing there. This would be great for getting our funding back up. Let's place 2 level 1 plots in Israel, but we lose a funding, so we're at risk of losing that there. Alternatively, we could go for a really, really deadly sucker punch and throw a bunch of plots on the board and see if they stick. I kind of like that. That would really hurt their prestige, and that would force them to not do War of Ideas, which I like. Alternatively, we could play Theft of State to convert this Awakening marker into a reaction marker, which I like. Or we could play these cards to get them out of our hand. I mean, these are not very deadly cards. This one, I believe what the Jihadist does is he elects to remove the US player elects to remove cards from the hand of the Jihadist first. So if we play it as the last card, it's no big deal. Okay, I'm going to play Theft of State for the event. In a poor country, so corruption prompts desire to return to Sharia strictures. In a poor country, replace 1 Awakening marker with 1 reaction marker. And that's going to be the only country that has a reaction marker, Awakening marker. That's Algeria, Tunisia. This guy is gone and is replaced with a reaction marker. All right, a nice flip of the hand there. That's the first card. The second card is going to be used for a this is going to be used for a recruit action. Yeah, I think just getting more cells on the board is a good idea. We're going to recruit once into Afghanistan. That automatically succeeds because that is a regime change country. So that was our 2 cards. It's over to the United States now with their 2 cards, and their first card is going to be Popular Support. Okay, so this is a let's go to that flowchart there. So we are there are no plots on the board because we want to speed things up or wait till they have no more cards. So this is so we skip past this, I suppose, and we go straight to the post-alert resolution flowchart. So is reassessment possible? No, it's not. Again, we have to be at least 3 resources to, meet that last one. So we can just keep ignoring that. Is this a playable non-jihadist card? Well, it could be, but I think we were not good in removing that Awakening marker, so possibly not. So let's go ahead and consult Popular Support. This is card number 174. We're going to scroll all the way down to this section here and see, okay, is there a section for Popular Support? 174. No, there isn't. I don't see it. Is there another? So I'm going to Popular. Nope, there isn't a section about that there. Place 1 Awakening or Reaction marker in any country which already has one of the same type. So this would help me if it was played. Okay, so let's see here. Maybe there's something here about placing markers. When given an option to place or remove markers, the US but always places Awakening markers, then removes reaction markers. When placing aid or Awakening markers, removing prestige regime or reaction markers, US bot uses the War of Idea. So they can't place any Awakening markers because it's not on the board. Which already has one of the same type. Okay, so this looks like this is just not a playable US event. So, play event, unassociated, add card values to US reserves. I'm not sure what to do here. Okay. I think what I'm going to do, just to move things along, is I'm going to treat this as it's not a playable non-jihadist card, right? So if the US can remove the last cell, end the game. So we'll sort of consult this. Okay, is a disrupt at poor Muslim at cells minus cube squared equal to 2 possible? There are no countries that meet that criteria, not yet. This is getting close, but not quite there yet. So nope. Islamist rule, nope. War of ideas in Muslim with DRM greater than equal to 0. I think possible, yes. But this is a 2-ops card, so they're going to have to see if that's possible. I think the answer is going to be Pakistan. They're going to target Pakistan there to sort of convert that to an ally. Let's follow through. Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, they should have done a War of Ideas in Pakistan with the last card we did. Because they could have targeted Pakistan even though it was a 3-ops card. My bad, guys. I think they'll do it with this one instead, though. So, most of them are plot dice. Regime change. Nope, can't do it. Regime change. Caliphate capital, and then Pakistan. Okay, so they're going to do a War of Ideas in Pakistan because the DRM is at a 0. Yeah, so that's going to be their first. That's going to be their first card. They're going to roll a die. They got a 5, which is a success because they have no other modifiers. That shifts the country to ally. Ooh, they're making their way over there. Okay, let's see. Their next card is going to be, and so that was it. The War of Ideas, and they're done. So typically they would add unassociated events to reserves, but because this wasn't played for the event, I am just going to ignore that, sort of. Taliban Resurgent. Play if able to remove 3 cells in a civil war or regime change. Yeah, they can remove 3 from Afghanistan. Okay, so this is a... so again, there are no plots, so we ignore that section. This is a playable non-jihadist card. This is a playable jihadist card, so the answer is no. Disrupt and poor Muslim at cells minus cube squared equal to 2. Nope. Oh, no, it's poor Muslim, so no. Yeah, no. Okay. I wonder why it's evaluated. I think this is like their way of trying to stop countries from going to Islamist rule. Okay, Islamist rule. Great. So no War of Ideas in Muslim with DRM greater than equal to 0. So yeah, we can do a War of Ideas in a country that's greater than equal to 0. So that's gonna be. Oh no! I've been missing out on the. No! I made a mistake. They can't be doing these because the GWAT it's -2. Oh my gosh! I completely screwed this up. I am so sorry, guys. Wow, I may just want to do this playthrough all over again because of that mistake. Again, this is what happens when you're not following everything and you're making mistakes. Okay, here's what we're going to do. So I made a mistake. I'm going to have these changes stay put. Actually, you know what? Let's... Okay, how far in the Wayback Machine can we go? You know what? I'm okay with the thing in Iraq and Pakistan happening. But I think from now on, I'm going to pay attention to this guy. Okay, so they're not at a DRM of 0. They're at a low DRM. They're at -2, at least. -1 if we look here. But yeah, no, that's not happening. So no War of Ideas. Okay, is the U.S.'s prestige low? No, it's not. It's at medium. So we go to no. Is a regime change possible? No, there is no regime change. You have to have Islamist rule countries to do that. So no. So we go to no. Can the U.S. disrupt for +1 prestige or to place cadre? Yeah, they can. They can disrupt in Afghanistan or in Iraq. So they're going to go yes. They're going to disrupt. Okay, that actually makes sense. Oh my gosh. All right, so they're going to do a disrupt at +1. And now where are they going to do it? Okay, so they're doing it for +1 prestige or to place cadre. So it's not... Okay, so we get to disrupt, and we're now going to follow this thing. So poor Muslim with cells minus cube squared equal to 2. That could be... Well, it's poor Muslim, so it's not Pakistan. Next up is for +1 prestige. So Pakistan doesn't meet that criteria because there are no troops there. They'd have to place troops there first. So it's going to be either Iraq or Afghanistan. So which one is it? We'll consult the chart here. Disrupt Pakistan, then Syria, then Iran, then Philippines, if I would say, then good. Nope, they're both poor. So fair, poor. So poor, they tie there. Then besieged regime. Nope, I don't know besieged regime. Then most cells. and then highest resource. So that's going to be Afghanistan. So they're going to disrupt once in Afghanistan, and they get a prestige from doing so. And I'm pretty much sure they're going to remove the active cell, and then flip a sleeper to active, which essentially means that one of these guys goes back to the funding track. So that's them getting a prestige. Okay. That was their 2 cards. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna leave things as they are. I mean, Pakistan's now an ally. I guess I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot here, ain't I? Okay, we are going to play. It's time for a super knockout punch. I think so. Yeah, let's hit them where it hurts. We're gonna play Martyrdom Operation, and we're going to have our cell here replace itself with 2 plots. So we're going to place a plot 3 and a plot 2 there. So this guy goes back to the funding track because he's active. And then we're going to play Gaza Rockets. So the Gaza Rockets happens. We lose a funding when we play it, and we place 2 1-op plots in Israel. So these guys go to Israel. And that should get our funding back up way fast. Okay, now it's the United States' turn to react in fear. Aha. Okay, so it's the United States' turn. Hopefully they don't have any 3-ops cards. They get Pirates. Okay, Pirates is a non-playable jihadist card, and there are plots up the wazoo. So let's go ahead and go to the plot thing here. Okay, alert, resolution flowchart. Start here. WMD placed in country? No. Are there 3-ops available? No. Is this a playable non-jihadist card? Well, it's no, it's a jihadist card. So the answer is no. Here, it's a non-playable jihadist card. So, but it's not. So it's not. Is this the last card of the phase? No, it's not. So we add the card to the U.S.'s reserves. So they're going to add these 2 cards to the reserves. Last card of the phase, no. Yeah. Okay, so that's their 2. This card is not played, so it's just discarded. It's not removed from the game. And their next card is going to be Siege of Kobanigrad. But first of all, we have to start with the alert resolution flowchart. Start here. WD placed in country, no. 3-ops available, yes. They can combine these 2 with one of the 3s. So with these 2 of these 2, so they'll have their 3 needed. And is this the last? Okay, so yes, they have it. Is this the last card of the phase, or U.S. reserves greater than equal to 2? Their U.S. reserves is at 2, so the answer is no, because they don't meet that. It's not the last card, and it is also not having U.S. reserves less than 2. So we go no. Okay, are there multiple plots? Yes. Yes, there are multiple plots. So they go to the alert table. Okay, so we'll go ahead and discard this card, I think. Well, we'll see what happens here. So, alert table. WND alert parties, WND US, WND troops. Okay, whatever. So, let us evaluate here. Our funding is at 4, and prestige is at 6, but there are a lot of other things to keep in track of. So, these ones down here don't apply, because none of these are in effect. But there are other unresolved plots in good Muslim, and then other unresolved plots in good non-Muslim. So, what do we do first? Do we look at the priorities first? Let's consult the rules here. So, alert. Choose the plot of highest priority according to the alert priorities box. Okay, so we have to pick the plot first. So WMD in the U.S. no, WMD with troops no, in the U.S. no, good Muslim, nope. Okay, non-Muslim, if plot would move funding to 8 or 9 from 7 or fewer. Well, let's see here. Good plots. So let's see here. If I'm going to evaluate this from the perspective of if all the other plots went off, right? So non-Muslim plot. Okay, so let's say these 2 went off. My funding would go up to 6. If this one goes off, it would go up to 8 because it's a 1. So in a good non-Muslim country, you actually do double the the plot number. So it's going to be 2 for each of those plots. So these two will bring it up to 6, and this one brings it up to 8, and then that will bring it up to 9. So if plot will to 8 or 9 from 7 or fewer. So the answer to that is no, because if either plot goes off, I would be already up at 8. So no. Fair Muslim. Nope. Then with troops. So that would be Afghanistan, I guess. Okay. So it looks like it's going to be with troops. So it's going to be in Afghanistan. And then highest plot number. So they're going to try moving to 3, although it's kind of inconsequential. Poor with aid. Nope. Highest, yeah. So it's going to be Afghanistan. Okay. So well, that we've selected that. We're now going to see if they actually alert or not. So okay. So that's the one they're targeting right there. And we're going to go to 4 funding and 6 prestige. So 6 prestige, 4 funding. It says yes, but it's not quite this. We have to actually sort of do that same thing again. Other unresolved plots in good Muslim, and then okay. So they're alerting one of them. There is a plot going off in a poor Muslim country, so that's +1. Then for each with troops, -1 prestige. So really their prestige is going to be 5, and the jihadist funding is going to be 5. But that's only the other plot in Afghanistan. If you look at these two, then the funding goes up to 9, because each of these adds 2, so it would go up all the way to 9, which is the case. So yeah, so it's going to be a total of 5, 9. So 5 prestige, 9 funding. And we see here, if it's a plot in the Muslim country, so the answer is no. They're not going to alert. Which makes sense. Basically, the plot would do almost nothing for them. So they're not going to alert. They're instead going to go to the PAR flowchart and do something with the 3 operations points. So, okay. So this is a 2 ops card. So we've decided that we're not going to alert after all that craziness that we just did there. So is reassessment possible? No. Is it the playable non-jihadist? Yes. This can be used... Wait, hang on. In a civil war country. No, this is not playable. So, no, it's not going to be used for that. Disrupt in poor Muslim at cells minus cubes greater than or equal to 2. Nope. Islamist rule greater than or equal to 3. And regime change possible? No. War of ideas in Muslim with DRM greater than or equal to 0. Their DRM is at -2. At most, I can see it going to -1 because of the aid that we had erroneously placed in Iraq. So, no. Remember, a war of idea rolls... In reaction countries, it's a -1, so that doesn't help the United States there. It's actually helping us, so we should maybe make our way over there. What's up next? What's up next? So we say no. Is the prestige low? Well, not yet. It will be soon, though. Okay. Is regime change possible? So we go no. No. Can you disrupt for +1 prestige or to place cadre? Yes. Yes, they can. So they can disrupt either in Iraq or Afghanistan, but so we do the disrupt. Poor Muslim with cell, nope. +1 prestige, yep. So +1 prestige, you're gonna go for the +1 prestige. So it's either gonna be Afghanistan or Iraq. So priorities are gonna be Pakistan, nope. Syria, Iran, nope, nope. Philippines, nope. Good, fair, poor. So they're both poor. Besieged regime. Then most cells. So most cells is going to be Afghanistan there. So they're going to disrupt in Afghanistan. So, oops, no, not the country. We want to flip these guys to active. And they gain a prestige. Okay, that was both of their cards. Okay, yeah, so they combined this 2 with 1 reserves. I think there's a rule where whenever you spend reserves, you have to spend all of them. I could be wrong about that. Let me double check the rules real quick. And so, yeah, this is just more checking of things right there. So, alright. Reserves. In general, U.S. options. Anything about reserves? Okay. Might be in section 6.0. Let's see here. Reassessment, U.S. deploy. Nope. Is there really nothing about reserves? That sucks. It's got to be here somewhere. Then set all reserves to 0. Nope, that's something they skip. It might be in the previous section. Okay, at the end of the turn, sets it to 0. I'm not seeing it right now. Okay, I'm gonna imagine that they only use one of them. Okay, so that 2 is combined with the 1, so they have a 3, and that allows them to disrupt in Afghanistan. So that's their 2-card play, and now we resolve the plots. Boo-ah-ha-ha-ha. So 2 plots go off in Afghanistan, which dings the US's prestige down 2, and it gives us 2 funding, 1 for each. And then both plots go off in Israel. They're both 1s, but that will max out our funding at 9. Huzzah! Maximum funding! Return to the Terror plot deck. You too. Okie dokie. Next turn, we are going to play our last 2 cards because we have to. They are US events, so they are going to fire, but we can mitigate the downsides of these cards. So we are going to play Jihadist. We're going to play Predator first. We're going to act first and then have the US respond. We're going to use the 2 operations points to recruit twice in Afghanistan. Placing those 2 right there. And then the event fires. So this is Predator. So we're going to go ahead and consult the bottom here to see, okay, where is the Predator going to act? So Predator? Okay. It's not listed here, so... I mean, this is a removal of a cell, right? So let's see here. Removing cells. Choosing cells. Once the target country has been selected for operations or by an event, the U.S. Okay, here. Removing cells, replacing cubes. When an event instructs remove cells, the U.S. bot uses disrupt priorities. Okay, so disrupt priorities, we're going to use that. So disrupt priorities. Where are you? There you are. Okay, Pakistan. Okay, done. So cell is removed from Pakistan. It's going to be a sleeper cell because why not? So this guy is gone. Send off the funding track. Okay, we are then going to play Reaper. And this is going to be used... we're going to have the United States go first, I think, this time. So Reaper is played. And let's see what Reaper says here. Reaper. Okay, so there it is. Remove cell if a country has 5 or more. So, else discard of jihadist as any. If none, remove. So remove would be removing cells, but we would follow the priorities there. So there are no cells with 5 or more because we're letting the US go first. So, and we're being smart, we're not placing them in Afghanistan. So they're going to go follow the priorities box. Yes, they are. So, priorities. Yeah. So, there it is. Okay. So yeah, it's going to be Pakistan again. So they're going to remove in Pakistan. And this guy becomes a cadre, and he is sent off to the funding track. And then we have our 2 ops to recruit with. We are going to, again, recruit twice in Afghanistan. That's a Predator right outside right now. Okay. That is our 2 cards. It's over to the US with their final 2 cards. And they have Reaper. Uh-oh. That was just played, wasn't it? So, remove up to 2 cells in any one Muslim country. So they're going to target Afghanistan, because if you remember, they target 6 or more. So these guys go back to the funding track. Wow, they're just really going after us. And the last one is going to be Al-Shahab, which is a playable non-jihadist card. And there are no plots on the board because of all that wonderful, wonderful plotting that happened. So this is going to be used... let's see here. So they have 2 ops. Okay, so start here. Reassessment possible? Nope. Playable non-jihadist? Yes. Sorry, no, it's not. It is a playable jihadist card. So they go, no. Disrupt and poor Muslim at cells minus cubes. Nope. Not quite there. Okay. Islamist rule? Nope. Morph ideas? Nope. They're at a -2, lest we forget. Okay. Nope. Prestige low. No, it's at medium. Regime change possible? Nope. Disrupt for +1 prestige or to place cadre. Yes, they can disrupt for a +1 prestige because they can combine the 2 of the 1 to get the 3, and they can target Afghanistan. So, again, if we follow the disrupt priorities, we get to poor, and then most cells, and that's going to be Afghanistan. So they will disrupt in Afghanistan. They will remove these two because they are active. So these are sort of the funding track, and they gain a prestige. Wow, they're actually doing rather well considering all things. So this was spent, and that is all of their cards. Okay, so it's the end of the round. We will go ahead and do the end of turn stuff here now. So let's go ahead and zoom in here a little bit so we can read this properly. So jihadists lose the funding. They would lose their funding if fracking was an effect and gain a funding if pirates was an effect, but that's not the case. Oops, back to the first card. -1 prestige if any country is Islamist rule. Nope, there are no Islamist rule countries, so they don't lose the prestige. They don't gain a prestige because the world's posture is not liking them. So, nope. Reserves to 0. The U.S. bot ignores that. Return plots available. Oh yeah, sometimes plots might become unavailable. So there's that. Hang on a sec. You return them now to available? What about... So can you only ever place 6 plots per round? Hang on, let's read that more carefully. Plots. Once per turn. Oh, no! Okay. No wonder that makes more sense. Okay, so you can only place one of these plots once per turn. Oh, that is interesting. Did we screw up? I don't know if we did. Huh. Once per turn. Okay, that is a big deal. Yeah, that stops... That restricts... So typically in Labyrinth, you can just place a bazillion plots. But here, you can only place each one once. Okay. That's good to know. Alright. Huh. Alright. Return plots available. Conduct polarization. There are no awakening reaction markers. There's only one in Algeria. And remember, with these reaction markers, you have to have at least 2 of them, 2 more than the awakenings, to do something with them. So... nothing happens in the one that only has 1, so we skip our polarization. There's also attrition, but there is no countries at civil war, so we skip that part too. Deal new cards, remove lapsing events, return off map. So yeah, so everything that's all fine and good. So we are going to go ahead and deal with a new hand of cards. It's going to be 8 for the United States and 9 for the jihadists. So. 8 for the US, and 9 for the jihadists. That's 8, one more, 9 cards. Okay, folks, so let us give a quick recap here. The United States was quite aggressive going after us. We only have 3 cells on the board, which is scary. Wait, we have 4 cells on the board. How do we have 4 cells on the board? Fit to width. What? We have 3? Hang on. That's weird. Am I missing a cell? Where are all the cells? Let's see. Off board. What? Oh! What? Okay, place cadre. That's a little funky. Okay, back to the funding track you go, my good man. Alright, so yeah, we took care of that. So there's only 3 cells on the board, so we're very close to losing the game if we don't place more cells on the board. But yeah, that happened. It happens when you have back-to-back Reaper plays, I suppose. So, some confounding in Afghanistan. We were able to hit their prestige relatively hard. We can actually remove the cells from Afghanistan, which is okay because they're not going to be able to do War of Ideas anytime soon. Their prestige is... it's climbing back up. It is climbing back up. So, there is that. And then, of course, that colossal mistake we did where they were allowed to do War of Ideas when, in fact, their posture should have made it not possible. So there's that. Oh, this guy's gone too. Right, this guy's gone. Okay, so thank you all so much for watching turn 1 of our 3rd campaign of Let's Play Labyrinth The Awakening. This is the Awakening campaign. We'll be back for turn 2 very closely. Thanks all for watching and have a great day. Hopefully this goes a lot faster.